This is Office Hours with Basecamp. I'm Jenna, and Ali is alongside me somewhere along the top row there. We have Arc'teryx tonight. We have Cassandra and Chanel. They're going to tell us all about what it's like working at Arc'teryx. They have retail stores all over the US and Canada, and in fact, all over the world. And they're opening up 22 new stores in the next year or so. So intense growth for this company and intense growth within this company if you start working for them. And that's going to be a definite point of conversation. But we're going to ask them some questions about what it's like to work at Arc'teryx. We're then going to take your questions as well. And Ali will talk a little bit more about if you have a question, what you should do.
Yeah, so Jen and I will hop in to kick this off. And as you have questions, please feel free to post them up in the chat. And as we feel like they're relevant to the conversation, we will definitely call you up to ask your question on camera. It's a great way to get FaceTime with this crew here from Arc'teryx and kind of have that initial introduction. And then at a certain point, we will just turn the whole session over to questions from the audience and kind of run through your questions in the order that makes the most sense to us. And so definitely listen up for your name to be called. And if you would kindly mute yourself if you're not muted at this moment, just so that we don't have any unintentional background noise, that would be awesome. Thank you.
And we'd love to start, Cassandra and Chanel, just introducing yourselves, your roles at Arc'teryx and where you're physically located.
Yeah, so happy to start. I'm so excited to see so many people on here. This is the first time we've done something like this. So super, excited to see so many people here on the call. My name is Cassandra Scheider. I'm a recruiter for Arc'teryx. I'm based in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm the only member of our recruiting team in the US. Amber Sports, who owns Arc'teryx, has an office here in Ogden, Utah. So I'm associated with that office location. My role as a recruiter is I really focus on retail and commercial. So I help hire any salaried roles within those divisions in the US, Canada, and also Europe. Also want to mention just as we discuss retail, our store managers are responsible for hiring their hourly retail staff. We can be really entrepreneurial with that. And so want to kind of mention that breakdown with our different roles. And I'll pass it over to Chanel.
Hi everyone, my name is Chanel Chang and I'm currently the store manager of our San Francisco store located in Union Square. And my main focus on the day-to-day is really the development of my team and hiring and recruiting and retaining talent, while also managing all things that fall on the store manager belt, whether that is our profit and loss statement and making sure that we're fiscally very responsible, or also activating our community and creating events that allow us to really deepen our connection with our locals and all the above. I feel like my job spans from all things development to people to managing the community and yeah, also being that main connector from headquarters to the store team as well. So yeah, it's nice to be with you guys.
Awesome. So many questions already. I'm like, wait. Okay, cool. I can't wait to dive in deeper. But before we do, Cassandra, can you give us a little bit of background on Arc'teryx, what the brand is? I mean, it's a very well-known brand, obviously, but maybe you can just give us a little quick overview.
Yeah, of course. So Arc'teryx has been around for about 30 years. The company started in 1989 in North Vancouver, Canada. The first product that the two founders designed was a climbing harness. The second product was our Alpha shell. And so that Alpha AR shell is still in the product line. It's gone over many iterations over the years. And really from that, those two first products, the company really grew to have a focus on climb, still have harnesses, but really took off in designing, technical apparel. Really the ethos of the company is Arc'teryx really sees itself as a design company. We want to make technical apparel for the mountain athlete. That really kind of stems the design process. And then, of course, the product can be used in many different ways, from lifestyle to those technical outdoor activities. As I mentioned before, it is part of a large multinational corporation that doesn't own a lot of other outdoor brands like Salomon and Atomic under that Amherst Sports umbrella. However, Arc'teryx really runs independently. It has done for many years. Yeah, want to mention that as part of the overall context of the company as well.
So tell us a little bit about why you as individuals are really proud to work there.
Yeah, no, I'll go first and I'll pass to Chanel. I really think that the kind of design ethos of the company really permeates the whole culture. And to me, and what I've seen, and to me, that means being really intentional and thoughtful about kind of how you're doing your day-to-day work. Also always wanting to do things better, try new things, test out to see what's working, what's not, and to try to, yeah, be the best that we can be in whatever function. And yeah, that does really seem to permeate the culture in whatever role. People are always super engaged in what they're doing. You do have the autonomy to say, okay, like, let's see how we can do this better. And I think that fosters a really engaged and collaborative culture. And I also do just really love the people here. That's some of the main reasons I like working here. Is just, I think the company kind of attracts a lot of just really, I don't know, great people. And so, yeah, definitely love, yeah, the culture and kind of how the design really translates through the company culture.
Yeah, not to steal Cassandra's thunder, but I also have to agree that we're a company that's always focused on making things better, whether that's internally with how we, manage and treat our people and our employees, but also externally, and always having the penchant of being the best in class, whether that's, in product or also how we treat our own staff. We're a company that loves to embrace change quite a bit. And I feel like in all of my retail career, we have a lot of retailers that kind of just stick with the old and same tried and true ways of doing things, but we're a company that is always focused on making things so much better constantly. And I love being a part of a company that's really embracive of change. You don't really find that commonly with retailers. So that's something that really fires me up every day about my work, is that, we're always focused on doing better. And, of course, the people is what makes it so exciting to wake up every day. I love seeing my team every single day and having them be my support. So yeah, so many things.
That's awesome. Chanel, before we go on to the next question, I want to go back to my burning question after you spoke last time. Can you tell us a little bit more of what community means within the retail space, and a little bit about what you do to, I guess, manage community, so to speak, in retail?
Absolutely. So my four walls community looks like sharing memorable experiences with people. So oftentimes our store will actually have monthly events where we're really getting people outside and allowing people to not only make new connections, but to also, deepen their connection with nature. And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll give away really amazing prizes like annual national park passes that enable people to get outside even further beyond that event, or even sharing, really great gear with everyone that attends these events. So not only are we creating a memorable event that we're hoping that our attendees will remember forever and will give them skill sets that they can take along throughout their whole outdoor journey, but also in supporting their journey after that event by, having amazing giveaways and really leveraging the company's, finances to be able to support a larger community.
That's awesome. And so is that a role, that many people who work in the retail environment get to participate in, maybe going to these events that you talked about? I just think it's like such an awesome sounding role that you don't hear about so much when you talk about retail. And so I just kind of want to like spin on it for a minute.
Absolutely. Yeah. So not only does everybody within the store, have the ability to attend a lot of these events, whether to be a participant themselves or to just help us supporting these events, everyone on my team also has the ability to create an event on their own and come up with these ideas. And if it's something that is really aligned with what we're going for that month, we, really try to make that come to light as much as possible. And beyond that, we have a specific lead position within our stores called the marketing lead role, where their main focus, besides supporting guests on the sales floor, is also figuring out what that community looks like and coming up with events that also connect with our broader community And it's a really fun position where, not only are you balancing the guests that we have out on the floor, but you're also strategizing how we can build a larger community on that. And it also extends to Instagram marketing as well. Whether that means, having your friends come by and model for a photo shoot that will then post on Instagram, or even some of my store staff will also be on some of those photos as well. But there's so many ways that at all levels that you can really be involved in these community events. So if it's something you're passionate about, retail is a great step into kind of leaning more into strategy and for events and building a community.
Yeah, I love that, how retail with certain brands really lends itself to it running it as its own business. It's not just going to work at this branch of a store for X brand. It's like each store is like its own mini business and kind of ladders up to the larger HQ. So super cool to hear about that.
Yeah.
Could mean is not just maybe a salesperson, but a visual merchandiser and a marketer, like you were saying, and a manager and a buyer, maybe a sustainability person. So there's this whole world within the retail environment that we didn't realize until we talked to you, Cassandra. So if there's other roles I'm missing, would love to hear about those too. And would also love to understand if folks are coming in for the first time to work with you, does everyone come in at the same level? Can somebody say, well, I want to do that visual merchandising role right off the bat? How does that work?
Yeah.
That's
or go ahead, Chanel. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll kind of explain the store dynamics and the roles that we have within a retail store. So we have product guides that are our front line and our first most important staff and kind of employee, just because they're the ones that have that first interaction with our guests, and they're able to share the stoke and passion with all of our guests that come in. And beyond that, if you have passions on leading the sales floor, we have leads, and we have leads that are designated in different pillars of the business. So for instance, we have operations leads, and their main focus will be, Excel spreadsheets, making sure that our inventory that we're receiving is accurate based on our purchase orders, kind of all the management of all of our inventory. And if someone is a penchant for Excel spreadsheets and just being accurate and being very diligent, that's a great role. Beyond that, we also have visual merchandisers, and that entails working very, very closely with the higher ups in HQ regarding on executing that vision that they have for all stores, which is a really fun position. You move around quite a bit, but you also get to flex your creativity muscles with that. We also have the marketing lead that I just explained a little bit ago, where your main focus is generating content, also figuring out a pipeline of ambassadors that support our vision on a deeper level with our communities, while also strategizing community events that we'll host either monthly or weekly. And on top of that, we also have sales and service leads. So what that means is that person is dedicated in being our historian, essentially. So they're the ones that know everything about all the products we've made, whether it's Arc'teryx gear or even our more luxurious line Valence. They're the ones that spreading the good word and the good product knowledge around to the whole team, and they're in charge of instilling all that product knowledge to everyone. And if, let's say, you want to further and have a bigger impact on someone's life and you love leading, we also have assistant store managers that really support the store managers in their visions and executing basically, whatever is required of us from headquarters.
Yeah, and do want to mention too our other regional positions, which is also exciting, the retail structure. We have regional managers that manage all of our store managers, and they also manage a community marketing manager for the region as well. And so we can really tie in the individual stores and that super hyper local community, and then also tie in the overall region for some larger partnerships and initiatives as well. So there is another kind of community layer there. And yeah, love how Chanel explained it. If you want to get involved in any of these different areas of the business, you definitely, and have the curiosity and kind of drive to like learn, ask questions, you're able to do that. And it really is evident in, I think, the marketing initiatives that we can do at our stores. If someone has an idea or a partnership at any level at that store, we can really like help them bring it to life, which is, I think, super exciting.
Awesome. Can you give us a lay of the land? Tell us, how many stores do you have? I know you're adding 22 this year, or next year. I know you're adding 22. That's an insane number. I can't wrap my head around the amount of work that goes into that. And then how large is each team at each store?
Yeah, so right now, and so this is across Canada and Europe, we have 45 stores. Most of them are in the US and Canada. We just currently have 5 in Europe. And then in APAC, that division is a little bit, the management structure is different, but there's actually 70 stores in the Asia Pacific region as well. And so, but for the time being, we're focusing on North America and Europe. And so, yeah, opening 22 across that region next year. Currently have 45, and Chanel, yeah, I think the stores like very much differ depending on size. Our smallest stores are archetype. There might be a team of 8 people there. To our regular brand stores, there might be 10 to 15, and our outlet stores, 10 to 15. So yeah, really depending on the type of store, we can have different sizes of teams.
Very cool. And Jeremy just asked a really cool comment. I have lots of questions, but I would love to bring Jeremy up and just ask this question that he has, because I think others might be wondering this. And I put him on the spot. So what I'm going to ask, if Jeremy, whenever you're ready to come up, you can do that. But I would love to ask about pay and how that's done. And, I know that pay is probably going to differ based on region, but give us the way that you do it. Like, does everyone get paid at the same level? What do pay raises look like? Do you have commissions in place? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so pay is definitely regional. So we do have different averages for each region, mostly due to cost of living and any kind of requirements a city has. San Francisco, Seattle, New York City have a minimum wage requirement. We pay over minimum wage everywhere, but do essentially have a broad range depending on that region. Pay higher in San Francisco than we might in Colorado. And then the lead level is higher pay than the product guide. And then the store manager and assistant store manager roles are both salaried positions. We do have a program called Strive for Summit that is able to reward employees at every level: product guide, lead, store manager, assistant manager. If the store is performing really well, there is monthly and quarterly opportunity for I guess a commission or bonus. I would say bonus because we don't have commission on specific product sales. So yeah, commission is the correct word.
Okay, got it. And I see that Jeremy has come off mute, so I think he is all set to ask.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
So I'm fascinated by Arc'teryx and their initiatives with sustainability. I think that the push towards creating a 50% footprint improvement is amazing, and I think that I've looked at and studied a lot of your online material, and I think that one thing I really love about it is that it's very well delineated through the different categories of sustainability, but it's also, there's a lot of numbers behind it that gives you a sense of exactly what you're talking about. And one of the things that I found interesting is the recycle program that you have with clothing. And then obviously you have business goals, and it was mentioned in the sustainability report that one of the biggest challenges Arc'teryx faces obviously is making business goals, but also being a major contributor to that program, both the taking in of the merchandise, but also to selling it again. How do you do the dance when a client comes in who you feel could benefit from both, but how many jackets does a person need? So what is the way that a salesperson engages with somebody, and how does it sort of follow that you bring both of these things in? Because I would imagine that it's never going to be, or you don't want it to necessarily be one or the other. In an ideal world, you would try to cross-sell into both categories and make a win-win not only for your business, but also to educate the client and make them familiar with both categories.
Yeah, Chanel, this might, I don't know if you have Rebird at your store. Yeah, so might be, have a good sense of, yeah, day to day, how you guys are doing that. If you want to take this question on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful question. And, I would say a big focus for us right now is circularity of our products and also making our products a little bit more affordable as well. I think something we all have heard from working at Arc'teryx is that, our gear does come with a really steep price. And a way that we've found a way to kind of get around that is by selling some of our used gear that's in really, really great condition. And the fact that we make gear that's meant to last for years on end, 10 to 15 plus years. And when we get those items back, we're able to shape them back up again and put them out to market at a way better price, usually about 30 to 40% of what the original price would be. And it's still in wonderful condition. And as salespeople, we're really expected to be honest and genuine. And it's something that I talk a lot about with our customers that come in, actually. I can't tell you how many times we have guests that own so much of our gear, and they just want, the new gear that we came out with because they like a better color, or they like how we've basically tweaked that item to make it better. So oftentimes I'll actually encourage a lot of our customers that if they have gear that's sitting at home that they haven't utilized in a while and it's still in good condition, to bring it back, and you'll get some great credit back on that you can put towards a future jacket that you're really going to love for another few years. So it's an approach that we take on a daily basis, where if we know someone's a fan of the brand, they want to get something new, we encourage them to bring back their older gear that they're not using, just so that, we can, one, help with the circularity and sustainability aspect, but also get that customer in gear that they're really going to use and love for the time being.
Got you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Okay, I want to address Joanne's question and just say that this session is highly focused on retail positions because Arc'teryx is about to grow in a huge way, and we're sort of coming into holiday season where retailers are staffing up. However, we do not want to, lose this moment to talk about Arc'teryx culture as a whole. So Joanne, if you want to come up and ask your question, and Cassandra can speak to, the culture as a whole.
Hey, everybody. So, with this whole, I've always been doing remote work from home anyway, just because of all the different things that I do. And I thought I'd just share this question because it's really kind of not new anymore. It's kind of, this is life. People are living in other places and doing wonderful jobs for companies. And I'm just curious if Arc'teryx venturing into this at all. I'd love to jump on board.
Oh yeah, about remote work or flexible work. Yeah, no, something we're definitely looking at for sure. Yeah, of course, for retail specifically, that happens in the retail store. But a lot of teams are really evaluating. So we're not at the 100% remote. I don't think Arc'teryx will be a company that's 100% remote. Depending on the role, especially our design roles, they do really need to use a lot of the resources in the office. And so we're really looking at, okay, like what roles reasonably could be done remotely, what teams like really need to come into the office. And so unfortunately, I don't have like a really strong answer of like, yes, we're going to like start doing a bunch of remote roles yet. I'm not sure, but it's something we're definitely looking at a lot. A lot has changed. People are realizing we don't need to be in the office together all the time to get a lot of things done. And so definitely more to come on that. If we have any roles that are available for remote, we have been putting that location in the job description. And so if there is a specific role you're really curious about or have been keeping an eye on the job board, if it is a remote role, it will be listed. So yeah, definitely looking at that a lot more.
Do you have a place where somebody could just send you a resume and letter of interest with their areas of expertise? Because, I'm here in sunny California. We have this whole coast, and we do a lot of photo shoots out here. We do a lot of photo shoots to social media, advertising for people out here. So I thought, well, I have background in both of that. Let me ask and see.
Yeah, no, great question. We do have a general application. So if you are just hey, don't see the right fit for me right now, you can apply and we can go and look at that. So I'll put that in the chat. So
Perfect.
you and anyone else on this call can check out that link.
Thanks, Cassandra.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then both Thomas and Stephen had very similar questions, but we're going to bring Thomas up to ask and then ask if Stephen has any follow-ups, because I think this is kind of like the main reason people are here tonight. So Thomas, glad you could join us and let us know what you're asking.
For sure. Thank you so much for hosting this session. And my question pretty much just, how do you best position yourself to be into the, or to break into this outdoor industry, given I think most of us are having the same passion, but with work-wise, sometimes it would be a little bit hard if we're not immerse ourselves into the retail culture. So what are some of the steps to position ourselves to break our foot into the outdoor industry?
Yeah, great question. I would say, definitely probably in your personal life, you are in the outdoors. And so just I would say keep engaging in those passions and get involved in your community. If it's something that you're perhaps doing on your own, I would say, go ahead, try to make those connections with the community, with, the store or with another kind of group. I would also say, apply to those jobs. If you see something that you feel like, hey, this is within, my area, tailor that resume, just apply and see what happens. And also connect with people in the store or on our team on LinkedIn. I will say we get a lot of LinkedIn messages, so we're not always able to respond to everyone, but yeah, I would say make those connections and yeah, just apply and see what happens.
I do have one follow-up question. I was wondering. I am a Canadian living in Vancouver, but currently, because my family is in the United States, and in terms of working at locations in the States as a Canadian, are there any work visa that will be available?
That one is hard because it is much harder to sponsor visas in the US than in Canada. So I think in the US it would be a lot harder. And that retail especially is a harder role to sponsor because in the US you do have to prove there's not anyone else in the US that has this expertise. And so, yeah, I'm not sure if there's a specific Canadian visa. I haven't seen one, but yeah, that will be harder. Sorry.
I'll go back to Canada.
Stephen, did you have a follow-up on that question? Because I know that you had a little bit of specificity to yours as well.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for hosting this session, guys. Just a quick follow-up. I guess just from a more retail setting, in Canada, I'd be super keen to see if there's any additional stores that are opening up, whether that be in BC, Alberta, or any of the other provinces, and what sort of opportunities you guys are specifically looking for. Is it mainly entry-level retail gigs, or are there also more senior positions available within the market at the moment?
Yeah, definitely will be opening more stores in all of those areas next year. And especially when we, open new stores, our growth again is going to be pretty large. And so we will need to be filling our retail roles at all levels and potentially be also looking at, maybe we need to add some of those regional roles, such as a community marketing manager or a regional, trainer position. And so people can really come in, especially again during these new store openings. We don't have, enough internal staff even to fill all of these roles. And so people can really come in at any level with the store or the region as we continue to grow.
Awesome. Thanks, Cassandra. Really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Annika, did that answer your question as well? Because I feel like it's along the same guidelines, and maybe you had a question about it.
Yeah, I think Cassandra mostly got it, saying that you can still just apply. But I was wondering, just because you highlighted sort of that so much about Arc'teryx is really about sort of almost a reciprocal relationship between the brand and the employees, that there sort of wants to be a certain identification with it. So coming sort of from outside, would you say there is a way to sort of get engaged with the brand or demonstrate sort of your knowledge, or maybe sort of your understanding of the brand's values that you would sort of look for in applications that you get from people outside of the company?
Yeah, I would say that. And yeah, a good way, if you have a store in your market, like, go to those events, connect with those people, for sure. I think that's a great way for us to connect with potential, new employees, and then connect with the community at large. I would also say most of our roles, we do have a just, why are you interested in Arc'teryx? In lieu of a, cover letter. And so that's a great way to put a couple sentences on like why you're really excited about this job. This is my passion. I'm really excited about this, also excited about the brand. We don't need someone to be, the expert, but really have just that curiosity, wanting to understand more about the brand, more about, the outdoors in any capacity, and just kind of be able to bring, the attitude of, passion, learning, to any role.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you all take the time to answer all of our sort of like intricate questions. Thank you.
Yeah, no, super excited to be here.
I would love to take a minute now. This is one of my favorite parts of office hours, is hearing about some of the benefits and perks at Arc'teryx, and specifically, you could talk about the company as a whole, or you can talk about the retail role specifically. I think it's really interesting to hear about some of those benefits and perks for retail. And, I don't know if Chanel wants to weigh in with what her favorites are. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I'll kick us off here. And I think the number one thing that I'm always excited about is an amazing, amazing staff discount that not only applies to us, but also for our friends and family year round. So we can all get outside and be comfortable in those environments. While also, I couldn't speak any highly or more highly of our insurance package. It is one of the best that I've ever received in any outdoor company that I've worked for. And I've worked for companies like Prana and Topo Designs. And I've got to say, with how affordable it is and how much coverage you get, it's one of the best I've ever had, including our 401k. The company does offer a match as well, which is pretty amazing. So you can invest in your future and kind of have a leg up. So I would say, yeah, definitely the employee discount that also applies to your friends and family, but the health and insurance package you cannot go wrong with, and I couldn't speak more highly about.
Can you just let us know? So does everybody get access to that package?
So it's actually right now mostly for full-timers. So anyone that has a full-time working about 30 hours a week will be able to partake in the 401k and in the insurance package. Beyond that, the 401k actually, let me step back a little bit. The 401k actually applies for everyone. So we match for everyone at every position, whether you're a part-time product guide or whatnot. We do offer that in commuter benefits as well.
What are the commuter benefits?
Ooh, so we actually have a flexible spending account. So you're able to contribute part of your paycheck every month to this flexible spending account that you can then use for all of your prescriptions. But also, if let's say you're taking, BART to work or whatnot, it also pays for that as well too. And that's something at all levels that you can partake in.
Okay, very cool. And Cassandra, did you have perks that you love also?
Yeah, great question. I do think also, well, just in general, benefits are vacation or PTO policies really good. It's 15 days or 3 weeks plus 8 holidays. And for retail is a little different, but the holidays are all floating, which is actually great. You can use them whenever you want to. And then I would say, yeah, a lot of the perks, we do have a lot of like localized perks, I think through the store at the local level, and that I have, just through our Ogden office location, is that we have some Ogden like specific perks, like a discount to the climbing gym that's in the area, like opportunity to get some ski passes on a discount, and other kind of, I guess, random things. They're not random for the local market. They're very, again, localized. And I think there's a lot of, opportunity and like things going on at the local retail level too, where they have a lot of different perks like that as well.
So that sort of perks up a question for me about, you're talking about PTO, which really speaks to full-time employees. Tell us about like what hours are people working? Because I know that typically retail stores have hours beyond 9 to 5, and I know that they have weekend hours as well. So are you, for instance, open on holidays? Would somebody that's just coming in new be more prone to get those weekend hours? Is it flexible? Like what is that world looking like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are thankfully not open on the major holidays, although we may be open on the eves of, certain holidays like Thanksgiving Eve or Christmas Eve. We are generally never open on the holidays, which is phenomenal. However, our hours are so flexible. So, I think something that we really focus on in this company is work-life balance. That's something you'll hear so much. And we are very flexible with the timing that you'll work. So, some employees won't work 2 weekends in a month and they'll have that off so they can get outside and get rad. And some others actually prefer to work on the weekends. And we do tend to be a little bit busier with our traffic. So it's really flexible. And with retail in particular, you can work anywhere from, 5 to 40 hours in a week, just depending on your position and what your availability looks like, but it is insanely flexible, which is something that I also appreciate as well.
Perfect. I would like to hear from Pablo because this question is super interesting. Pablo, would you mind coming up and asking your question?
Yeah, hi everybody, and thank you for this session. This is very interesting. I actually come from an industrial design background and experience, nothing regarded to the outdoors. However, in my spare time, I just love going to the mountains with my dog all the time. I want to transition into the outdoor industry, and I keep hearing a lot about this. You can align your passion with your work, and your lifestyle. The question is how, right? And for example, being an industrial designer, I love Arc'teryx, the culture of it, but it's all in Canada headquarters, the innovation, the product design. With all the locations that you're opening, with all the hubs, is there opportunity for that in any other satellite location or just Canada?
Great question. That's a really interesting question. I think that we're at the beginning stages of potentially looking at hubs, but I don't think it'll happen super soon. I think in particularly design, they do love to have the team together. So I'm not sure what that will look like. However, I know that we have Solomon, one of our, sister brands is based in France. They have their footwear center there. And so our team has collaborated with Solomon on footwear. So there is some opportunity with the other brands in different locations globally. But yeah, as of right now, I think, and also design kind of adds this other, layer. I'm not sure what that will look like, but again, there's been a lot of discussion about where we should work in the future, especially I think a lot of companies are thinking that since COVID. So yeah, probably will be more to come on that, but I'm not sure right now.
That's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Pablo, you're not alone in that. I think a lot of people in this industry, grow from just actually experiencing the outdoors and loving it and being like, I want to get paid to help other people understand this love. So, I love that question. And I would love to know more about tell us about some of the growth potential here. So if somebody loves the outdoors, give us some more information on those pathways, right? Like somebody would come in and how would you take an entry-level position and grow it into a corporate role or leverage it into a corporate role?
Yeah, great question. I can definitely talk about that. And I think Chanel will be able to jump in too, because specifically within retail, there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of people have started in retail. Our VP of commercial, CJ King, he started his career at a specialty gear shop, really grew his career up through retail sales and is now kind of over our commercial, division. And so I think we do see that a lot within Arc'teryx, especially within the retail stores. You can really come in and get, and again, at any level within the store, if you have that curiosity, you're able to communicate that. ask for time to set aside with someone to learn, become involved in a project. You can develop in that way. And so we've definitely seen it from the stores coming up through to be a store manager, to be a regional manager, to move actually maybe over to territory manager in sales, move into training, move into marketing. So we do see a lot of movement there. And then there has been opportunity for people also to move from retail into corporate roles. Again, building up from the store, you can really kind of enter in retail operations. Allocations to the stores. So there's a lot of skills that you're able to develop from that level. And then, within corporate, I would say, coming in at entry level, there it is similar. Some of our teams are much more linear, beginning marketing coordinator to marketing analyst or things like that. But we're talking a lot about retail today. And I would say there's a lot of opportunity to grow a career from that side of things. And I don't know if Chanel, you have anything to add from like things you've seen in the market, but
Yeah, absolutely. Something else to add on that's really exciting about the company is that if, let's say, you work at Arc'teryx and you find a problem and you discover that there's a position that could kind of help with this overarching problem, you can honestly create a position for yourself. There's been a few people that have done that at the retail store level, and it's not that they've achieved being assistant store manager, that then they were able to work at headquarters with this position that they've created themselves, but it was just that they found a need for the company and was able to present a business case around that and have been able to, make a position all around that one thing that they have discovered. Great example would be Brian Leon. He is our POS master. We have, of course, a POS system that, like all their POSs, they always have clinks here and there. And he actually took the time to really understand every single function of our POS system and is now the main point of contact for all things our POS system and works directly in HQ and is remote right now. And he started off as an operations lead. So someone that really was focused on shipments and making sure that inventory was accurate, now works at headquarters. So there's a lot of room to also pave the way for yourself and to create a position all on your own as well too.
Love that, because we're hearing just speak up, follow your energy. And we've done a pre-interview with you and, Joel, your colleague, said, when people say my skills lie here and my energy lies here, and I'm really excited to expand on that, can you help me? Arc'teryx is so excited to help people grow. If you're like, I love marketing, they're like, yes, how can we develop you? We would love to. You need people in those marketing roles and somebody that knows Arc'teryx and your brand and is passionate about it. That makes a better employee for you. So there's lots of mutual reasons that you'd want to do that. And I think just reminding people to speak up and raise their hand in an environment that is really, really in love with that is such a great fit. And I also want to say, when we're talking to folks, leaders in the outdoor industry, so many of them get their start in retail. And they mention things like, working with customers, understanding what outdoor gear customers need and love, like that customer service piece, learning a little bit about sales, marketing. So many of the skills that you can gain in retail will help you throughout your career. So I'm curious if there's any others that are standing out, like other reasons to start within retail that you can think of that are going to serve folks as they grow.
Yeah, I think, the biggest skill that you really acquire when you work in retail is people skills. And that's probably the most transferable skill that you can use at any job across the board. When you have an influx of so many different personalities and so many people coming in, you've really figured out a way to kind of be a chameleon and be able to connect with everyone that comes through your door or even on your team as well. So I think that's the one kind of skill set that you really get really, really amazing at is your people skills and your communication skills. And I find that so transferable everywhere. And if you're someone that's passionate about the outdoors, speaking about the outdoors and being able to chat everyone through, their trips and kind of getting them outfitted out for their upcoming trip is one of the most exciting things, because in some ways you get to vicariously live through this guest experience. And while you're chatting through, you kind of get to, in some ways picture yourself in that environment with them. And, in some ways you can also gain a lot of great friendships from your customers as well. One of my mentors is actually someone that was a customer of mine from a previous role that is, my professional mentor now, one of my closest friends. So you honestly never know who you're going to meet when you're working on the sales floor. And I think that's also another aspect that's incredibly exciting about my day to day. I've also met some celebrities in my time frame as well. So, it's exciting. You never know who's going to walk through the door and who might be, your mentor or one of your best friends down the line.
That's awesome. Celebrity sightings. I desperately want to ask who, but I'm not going to. So if someone was interested in applying for, this is sort of a segue into Liuba, I might be saying your name wrong, but to her question. But first, what is the best way to apply for a retail position? Is it still you walk into a store and fill out a paper application? Probably not anymore. That was how I did it when I was 16. Tell us a little bit about the process.
Yeah, actually, I really applaud and love when people come into the store and introduce themselves to the team that's currently there and, strike up a conversation with one of us that's working there and to try to see, genuinely if you like the vibe and the energy that's at that store and going from there. But also we have other ways that you can apply online as well. So through our website, we do have a careers page that leads you through all the different positions throughout the company, whether it's retail specific or something in headquarters. And I'm sure that, Cassandra might have some others to add as well, but we do it the old school way, with paper, but also digitally as well.
Yeah, we recently redid our careers page. This was a really big project that our recruiting team is super proud of. So we do have our different types of opportunities segmented, our corporate opportunities, our ARC1, North Vancouver Design Center opportunities, and then our retail opportunities as well. Yeah, so definitely would say, go in, meet the team, and then also apply online. And that way we can track your application. That's also how we hire you into the company, is through that application portal. Yeah, definitely is the best way.
Great. So Liuba, and let me know if I'm saying your name wrong. Why don't you come on up and ask your question?
Hi all. Actually, what I mean is not specific to retail, but more to corporate. Let's say if I want to apply for the position of designer or anything in one of the main office, the headquarters, does it go straight to, like, I put my CV, my cover letter, I do all online, and then is it a robot that goes through the first filter and then sees the skills, the wording, and then it goes to a person? If it's good, or if it's not good, it simply gets discarded? Just wondering, because I applied to a couple and I think I'm a good match, a good fit for the position, but nothing has happened. So it's pretty much that. My curiosity.
Yeah, no, could definitely answer that. So our team actually is reviewing all the applications. So nothing is reviewed by a robot. We look through all of those. And so, yeah, we'll say that our careers page is the best way to stay up to date with our current open roles. We're really great about posting whatever's open, taking things down when they're not open anymore. And then someone from a recruiting team is reviewing all the applications. So if you do apply, someone will be looking at your application.
Thank you. I mean, this is like such an apt question. We see this in the group all the time, people talking about how applications go through these initial robot stages and how, what are the tactics in order to get past the robot. So it's nice to hear that there is a human being looking at all of the applications and having their eyes on them.
Oh, really quick, I just have been dropping our corporate, retail, and then our just full careers page into the chat here. So if anyone wants to check out those links, they will be there.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to move us into talking about Arc'teryx's commitment to DEI. What sort of initiatives are taking place internally to support diverse team members, to bring in more diverse team members? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, for sure. Something that our company's been thinking about for a long time, and really has started from the executive level down, which I think is really great. That there is complete buy-in on how important diversity and inclusion is from that level. And currently we have a few different kind of mechanisms internally building out a diversity and inclusion team. We also have a couple of JEDI, Justice, Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion committees. We have a retail JEDI committee and a corporate JEDI committee, and where that's a place for people who are interested, have ideas, can share those ideas and look at what can we do better, how can we test these initiatives, what should we be doing. And we do have the senior leadership team listening sessions for both the corporate and the retail JEDI committee monthly. And so any interested employee, actually, whether they're part of the committee or not, can join that listening session and share feedback with our senior leadership team, which I think is really great. And then I guess slightly related, but also in response to a lot of the protests that were happening, did affect some of our stores this year. And so we did implement haulback training, which is a conflict de-escalation training. I think has helped the retail team learn a lot of skills. It's now being given to all of our company if you're interested in enrolling, but I think also help people feel like, okay, we're supported, like we the senior leadership understands what's going on in the front lines at the retail level, and so have a few different things. I don't know if Chanel, if you have anything to add as well.
Yeah, no, I would say another thing that we also add is that we also have surveys that kind of go through, everyone's inboxes to make sure that we are being as diverse as possible, but also we're living true to, the JEDI community. So, alongside with all the trainings that we receive, we also have surveys to ensure that, we're doing this work internally and externally. So yeah, it's something that's on the forefront, that's brought up all the time in a lot of the meetings that we're in.
Yeah, and good call out. We have, a couple required, trainings about diversity, inclusion, anti-bias, things like that. There'll be a lot more to come as we have built out that diversity and inclusion team. But yeah, I want to specifically mention that. Thanks for reminding me. Sure.
Jess, would you like to come ask your question? Because I think it's a really interesting one and one I kind of thought of.
Hi, yeah, thank you. And thank you so much for, coming and taking the time out of your busy schedules to put this on for us. I really appreciate it. I was curious just hearing about your DEI, your JEDI program, what you're doing with recycling and local events. Like, where do you guys stand with, the B Corporation discussion? I know a lot of similar products you have gone in that same direction. You're okay. And yeah, I was just curious about where you guys stood on that, if that's something that you're working towards or considering. And I just wanted to say, as someone who has worked for an Amber Sports retailer, Arc'teryx is an incredible product to sell. It sells itself. It's beautiful stuff.
Awesome. No, great question. As of right now, I don't know that Arc'teryx is pursuing B Corp. We are pursuing free trade for most of our products. And so that's coming from, our sustainability team. There's a lot of things that you need to do to become free trade certified, but that's something that we're actively pursuing. I know at the retail level, there is often a sustainability chief or lead. I'm not sure what the title is. There's a sustainability committee, and Chanel could probably answer more on the store level.
Yeah, so at the store, we have a designated person that's extremely passionate about being, about all things sustainability, that will be our sustainability champion. And they'll have calls every month with every other leader within the whole company regarding how we can make our store practices a lot more sustainable. Something we've tried about a lot is how we can, actually have sustainable mailers. It's something that's kind of tough to find, and it's so nice to have so many heads to be able to be together and to be able to solve some of these problems. So it's something that's on the forefront of what we do at the store level internally, but also as of this year, we're trying to create a lot of our brands to be dope dyed. So for it to be Blue Sign approved and a lot better for the environment as well. So not only is there a big push within our products to be more sustainable, but also how we operate internally in our retail stores as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So Chanel, I have a question for you. Just thinking about kind of leadership within the stores and employee feedback and what those kind of loops look like. How is success measured for folks who work in the retail environment, whether they're, you know, a salesperson or a community manager or any sort of realm within the retail environment? Can you talk a little bit about what that feedback loop looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So with success for us, you know, although numbers are always associated with a part of our success, it's not the overarching most important thing for our retail employees. I would say something that I really look at that I consider as a form of success is personal development and personal growth. That's conversation that I'm in with my team constantly is how can we make your strengths even stronger, but how do we also find these opportunities of change? You know, how can we make you a little bit stronger in that sense? And something I like to do is have feedback conversations with my employees often. In fact, I plan and always try to check in with every single employee every single day to one, see that they're supported and they have everything they need for that day to be successful, but two, to kind of run through what their day looks like and what their priorities are for that day. So I would say it's work that I'm in every single day with providing feedback because it's not something that you do, you know, just once a month. I don't think that holds enough weight, but more or less kind of doing it, you know, frequently and honestly and openly all the time. So, you know, success is measured in so many ways, but I think personal development and personal growth is something I look at so much more than, you know, how many jackets you sold this month or what our sales number looks like. Because I think when you're really focused on your team's best interest and development in mind, those numbers will follow and come afterwards. So yeah, I would say feedback is something that's on the daily and it's delivered in a way that, you know, we have your best interest in mind. It's not to make you feel less than or to, you know, put a laundry list of all the things you don't do well at, but more or less, how can we make you stronger so you're ready for that next step in your career?
That's awesome. I mean, you sound like a fantastic manager. Whether you're working in retail or any environment, that's a fantastic mentality.
I've ever heard to that question, I feel like.
Yeah. Is that the philosophy coming down from HQ? Is that going to be sort of the philosophy for employee success across, you know, all stores? Yeah, that's my question. Or are there sort of more data-driven success parameters that people could be focused on?
That's such a great question. And I would say, although we're really supported by headquarters on having monthly staff meetings and to be in that conversation of feedback with all of our employees, it's more or less a suggestion from headquarters opposed to tasks that we have to do, which is really great that it can kind of show up in whichever way that works best for you and your team. You know, of course, there are team members with different skill sets and at different levels. And, you know, some might need more feedback than others at any given time. And it's nice that, you know, the company doesn't, you know, quantify your success on how many, you know, store meetings you have, but rather, you know, what you're able to accomplish with your people and, you know, their personal development. And of course, there's sales numbers that come with that as well. But it's something where the company really supports you in giving you suggestions and the tools on how to have better team meetings, opposed to it being something that you have to do or is a task that you have to check off the bucket list, which is really nice. But the company does support with a lot of structure and tools and, you know, how to have these tougher conversations with your employees or how to have a successful, you know, store meeting. It's great that, you know, a company supports you with all these assets, whether they're digital ones that you can present as PowerPoints or even just more anecdotally and how we can approach those situations.
Very cool. Again, I just can't keep going back to that. Each store is like its own little ecosystem, which I didn't realize because, you know, I haven't worked in the retail environment since like when I was like loitering in the mall as a youth, I feel like. So it's been a minute. But Carlos had a great question as well, and I'd love to bring him up if he's still here. And if not, I have more questions. He might have gone for a snack break. So I'm super curious about, like, this is basic, but what are you wearing to work?
Ooh, I am constantly rocking our gear from head to toe. We finally make socks now as well, and everything above, from hats to jackets, t-shirts, everything. So I'm usually decked out head to toe in Arc'teryx gear, and there's some days where I'm wearing yoga pants to work, which is phenomenal because it's so comfortable. But generally speaking, everything I wear from Arc'teryx is so comfortable, functions so well, and for someone that's very stain prone like me with coffee stains, the gear is so technical that it performs so well in all elements, not only when you're outside in all crazy kinds of outdoor temperatures and environments, but also when you're in a more urban setting as well. So I'm always decked out in our gear, whether it's Arc'teryx or Valence.
Awesome. I'm going to invite Thomas up to ask his question. Make sure that we are getting at everyone who's asking questions and inviting them up to get some face time.
Sure. Thank you for allowing me to ask my second question. But from myself, I came from, of course, someone from retail, B2C segment. I was just wondering, in the near future for Arc'teryx, are there any B2B sectors that will be available for anyone to pursue that's currently in sales?
Great question. Our major growth is going to be in retail, but we do have those positions pop up. And so I would say, yeah, just keep an eye on the job board. And we usually have a few pop up each year. So yeah.
And sorry, just one follow up is, so let's just say if I'm currently applying for the retail store and let's just say I didn't get it, but would my application still be pretty much in standby if it fits a opportunity that appear in the future?
Yeah, so the application will stay in the applicant tracking system. Depending on the role, sometimes the role might be posted again, so the application might not be still attached to the role. And so I would say if there is something that you see later that you're interested in, I would say apply again. It'll make sure that you're at the top of the pile, because again, it will still be in there, but it might not always be attached to the current opening. And so, yeah, definitely, that's the best way to get your resume seen, is to apply again, for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So tactically, I'm curious if when folks apply, I know that they're going through the portal, but do any phrases, if someone sends you a message or an email, like, are there subject lines that would get your attention, or like lines in a cover letter, like, or maybe even just past experiences or skills that would be like a little attention grabbing?
Oh yeah, I can definitely talk to some, and I think Chanel will be able to talk to some too. Yeah, especially when we're bringing in people at that store leadership level, any mention of like, hey, I developed this team, like I love coaching, like that's something, as you can see, like we're very passionate about. And so that's something, like a skill that we always look for. And again, we ask that why Arc'teryx question. It doesn't have to be a long answer, but just show like, hey, this is why I'm specifically excited about this opportunity. This is, why I've been engaged with the brand, is really great to have. And then, yeah, love people who speak about their passions, that I think just in general, the outdoor industry is a passion-based industry, but love to bring people in that have any kind of real interest. And it's like, yeah, I am the best visual merchandiser. I love developing like teams, being able to really showcase what you're excited about in your application resume, I think is something that we always really look for.
And also, I would say for retail specifically, something that I love to look for is people that have had service jobs before. So whether you've been a servant at a restaurant before, or whether you've worked at other retail stores, or you've had a job in sales, that's always something I'm looking for. Just given that, we're looking for people that are excited and passionate about talking to others and are enthusiastic about it. So that's always something I'm looking for. But also, let's say you don't have a background in sales, we're also looking for people with varied skills. Whether if, let's say, you've been a cleaner before, a planter before, a landscaper, there's so many opportunities where you can utilize those skills in the store, whether it's, caring for plants or, different things of that sorts that, I would say my biggest thing is that if you can show that you're a team player and you can really bring that to light in your cover letter, that's something I'm always looking out for as well, because in the retail environment, we're constantly working with each other and we need to work together as a team to be successful. And that's always a skill set that I'm always really looking for, is someone that is a team player that has demonstrated that in the past.
Thanks for calling out those specifics, Chanel. I think it helps so much with the application process to really hear from people inside who are hiring and understand what it is that they want to see, or will resonate with them. So thank you for highlighting that. Cassandra, are there any roles in particular that you're hiring for more urgently that you can call out, so people can know, what are you trying to fill right away, and then what's sort of coming down the pike?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I would say, we are hiring for retail. I would say like our markets that we're hiring, definitely right now for would be the San Francisco Bay Area. And so that's in all of our, different locations through the Bay, Livermore, Marin County, San Jose, Palo Alto. So we have quite a diverse kind of locations that are pretty far geographically from each other in the Bay, and New York City. We have positions open in the Denver area. So I think in most major cities, we are hiring in retail right now. And yeah, coming down the pipeline, we will be hiring more in the Bay Area, more in the New York City area, Denver and Chicago areas as well. And then in Canada, more in Vancouver, more in Montreal. So we'll have quite a variety of locations next year. So would say the main focus right now is the San Francisco Bay Area though.
Very cool. I would love to know too, like, what are your best memories working for Arc'teryx? Because I would just want to humanize this a little bit and bring it more to the individual level.
Yeah, I'll share. I would say, most people probably wouldn't bring this up as like a very good, memorable experience, but in my location in specific, we get broken into very often. We're just in a very urban area, and, we'll get broken into here and there. And I feel like in those moments of, when things go really awry, our team gets so much closer to each other, and we're able to really kind of get over these hurdles so well as a team, but we just come together so much more, and sometimes even have the best sales days when we start off our mornings with a break-in. So I've got to say, in those moments of, maybe not the best, we really do come together as a team, and those moments make me feel so alive and so grateful that I have the team that I do, because typically when that happens, it's a pretty sad way to start the day, and I would even say week, but our team comes together and their stoke is even higher after something like that, because I think we all know that we need to work together and we need to keep each other's spirits high. So that's one thing that's been extremely memorable.
That was a transparent response right there. I mean, that's cool. I have a follow-up question on that regarding sort of the camaraderie of the team then. Obviously, you're very tight-knit, very supportive. Is there also like friendships outside of working hours?
Oh, absolutely. We have so many friends or friend groups that have formed from just meeting each other, inside the work environment. A lot of us will climb together at climbing gyms, or even go on hiking trips whenever our schedules will line up, or even go to concerts and, or take a trip to Napa. So there's a lot of connectivity outside of work, and it all, comes from working together and having that common space to, you know, make that connection. And I would even go as far as say, as a lot of our customers also become some of our closest friends outside of work as well.
Cassandra, we would love to hear your fave moment too.
Yeah, no, thinking about this. I think one of my favorite moments was actually when I was first interviewing, and it was back when we would fly people to interview, and now we do a lot of video, but it was, I just think it was really memorable because it was just such a good interview process, and I was interviewing with other recruiters for a recruiter job, so we do talk to people and have, I would say, pretty good skills for that. But going and just meeting the team, yeah, I felt like there was a lot of really good camaraderie on the team. It was just like such a good environment, just being able to kind of meet the people I would be working with and that are now friends, like in Chanel's case as well. And one of the most memorable parts was definitely my one interview with two team members. One team member brought her dog into the office and was like, hey, need to take him out. Like, let's, you know, for our hour block with you, we're going to go take the dog on a walk around a park next to the office. And so I just thought that was very unique. I felt, you know, very comfortable during the interview, being able to do something like that. And it was also like fun and was a good sense of like what the team is like. It was very, authentic to that team. And I think a lot of our interviews kind of end up like that. And so, that was super memorable for me, like right from the start. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. We have a question in the chat that I'm going to read from Yushio. And this person says that they're Japanese, currently living in Japan, planning to move to Canada. Does Arc'teryx provide work permits for folks who want to move to Canada to work for the brand? And I think we had this question from Carlos, who also didn't come on and ask. So yeah, I'd love to have that question answered.
Or do you, I think it's also, will you hire people even without providing a work permit if they are coming, you know, from an international location, but it looks like have experience?
Yeah, so we definitely, you can sponsor visas for certain roles. So anyone we'd hire, you know, we'd have to make sure that we're getting them the work permit if they don't already have the work permit. So something as part of a recruiting process, we make sure someone is authorized to work in that country. I would say, it depends on the role that we'd be able to sponsor visas for. So because in Canada and the US, you do have to show, you know, this person has a skill set that we're not able to find in that country. It's a little bit easier to do that in Canada than the US in terms of the legal process. And so if you are a really great fit for the role, we interview you, okay, we can sponsor visas for this position. It qualifies generally a more senior level role, then we can do that. And so, if anyone, you know, is from another country, has a certain skill, you know, apply to the job, and we'll go through that interview process. And if that's the first we end up hiring, and it's a role that is eligible to be sponsored, we will do that as we need to.
Very cool. I didn't expect so many work visa questions, but it's a super relevant one. Because, you know, technically being up in Canada, a lot of our folks are from the US. And you're an international company, so people are going to want to hop around, and that's a really exciting opportunity. So thanks for shedding some light on that. Obviously, the answer is yes, shoot your shot, apply. I believe there's a question right in the application that says, do you need to get a work visa sponsored? So that's where you would add that information in, but maybe even if they could help you say like, here's why my skill set is so unique, that might be a little bit of help. And it looks like we do not have any more questions from the audience, and we're nearing our time. So I'd love to ask you both, like, if you have parting thoughts, things that you would love the audience to know about working at Arc'teryx that we haven't covered, or that you just want to go over again.
Great question. Yeah, no, I would definitely like to reiterate some of the things that we've talked a lot about, which it is, you know, you are able to kind of create your career journey if you are engaged, you know, see, okay, this is the business need, this is my skill set, I'm going to propose this, I'm going to get involved, I'm going to ask, and you can really create that path, which I think is so exciting. And also, again, we're focusing a lot on retail in this conversation. I think it's so exciting. You can start that path from retail. And yeah, we've talked a lot about how each store is really their own kind of like center. We talk a lot about the entrepreneurial store manager. And so, yeah, Chanel can talk about that. But I think that it is really exciting that you are able to come in and kind of influence that side of the business, influence your career, and yeah, are able to build it at Arc'teryx.
Yeah, and I would add that, you know, if you're someone that's very invigorated by change and the idea of always being better than just being good, you know, from good to great, then this is a great company to work for. You know, we're a company that really is focused on making everything better, whether it's internally or externally, the products that we sell or how we treat our employees. And if that's something that excites you to hear, you know, I'd be more than happy to spend time after this, you know, on LinkedIn or even as a chat to kind of explore and chat more with each of you guys if you have more questions about that. But if change and, you know, working at a place that has disruptive evolution sounds exciting to you, where we invite everyone to come as their own and to be who they are, then this is a place to be, because, you know, we have people of all different backgrounds working at this company. And I think that's what makes us so darn cool and such a strong collective, is that we all have such different backgrounds and we bring so much to the table that when we all come together, we really flourish. And if that excites you, this is the place to be, honestly.
So glad you said that, because we actually had tons of people that really wanted to be here tonight, but were not able to be here in person. And I think that sharing that would be phenomenal with the folks that are super interested in working with Arc'teryx, but couldn't show up for this session. So getting that, you know, a little bit of personalized advice would be so phenomenal. And we appreciate that so much that you're offering that.
All right, thank you all for coming tonight. This was wonderful. It was so exciting to hear about Arc'teryx and hear what's coming up for the brand, that you're growing so much, and you know, looking to bring in some great people, which is awesome for our audience here. So thank you again, and definitely, you know, check out our office hours. We've got a few more brands coming up in the coming months. We're excited to host, and we look forward to seeing you all in the Facebook group and in the newsletter each week. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any feedback. hello@wearetheoutdoorindustry.com.
Thank you all.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Chanel.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. It was so great.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
All right. Good night.